My name is Ken Williams, and I turned 40 last month. Not to brag, but I'm single. I've never been married. The other day, some close friends gathered and threw a small birthday party for me. We rented out a local bar, and my friends' families joined in, but I was the only one who had never been married. Kids were running around, and my friends' wives were engrossed in their conversations. Seeing all that made me think, oh, I'm alone, even though it was my birthday party. I don't think marriage is everything, but living my life so intensely has led me to this age. I thought I sighed quietly, but my best friend, John Miller, seemed to have noticed. Hey, the guest of honor can't be sighing. You gotta have more fun. What? Oh, sorry. Of course, I'm enjoying it. Thanks as always. It was John who planned this birthday party for me. He's a kind guy who always looks out for me. Ken, now that you've hit the big 4-0, you should start looking for a partner. I can introduce you to someone perfect for you. No thanks. I don't think I could handle someone like your wife. I pretended to shiver, and John laughed and punched me in the chest. Hey, don't badmouth my wife. I'm not badmouthing her, just scared. Why are you scared? I glanced toward the back of the bar and saw John's wife laughing heartily with a beer mug in hand. John and I looked at each other and burst out laughing. Well, I guess being scared is understandable. Anyway, I think it's time you started thinking about yourself. Thanks, I'll consider it. John was called away by his wife and hurried off. After laughing at his retreat, I sipped my glass of whiskey alone, reflecting on my life so far. I lost my parents in an accident when I was 15. It happened right in the middle of my set. That day started off sunny, but a terrible rain began at night. The weather forecast didn't mention anything about rain. It takes less than 15 minutes to walk home from the station. But thinking it was too cruel to make my father walk home in the heavy rain without an umbrella, my mother drove to pick him up. Mom, are you sure you can drive in this rain? You just got your license, right? It's fine. I finally got my license at this age. This is the time to prove myself. Well, okay. Be careful. I had some concerns, but still saw her off. On the way, the car they were in got into an accident, and I never saw them again. I had no idea what had happened and was just thinking they were late getting home. The station is only a 5-minute drive away. Maybe the train was delayed, I thought, but I had a strange feeling in my chest. After an hour, I started to worry and paced around the house for no reason. Then the phone rang. Hello, is this the Williams residence? Yes, it is. The police officer, likely because my voice sounded young, seemed to hesitate for a moment. He quickly cleared his throat and continued. Are you Williams' son? I'm sorry to inform you that your parents were in an accident. What? The rain that night was pouring down like buckets, and visibility was terrible. My mom was driving as slowly as possible, but a truck in the oncoming lane was speeding. It skidded and crashed into my mom's car. I don't remember much after that. Someone came to get me and took me to the police station. I don't even remember when I started crying after seeing my parents who would never speak again. It all felt like a dream, a blurry memory. One thing was clear, I couldn't afford to be sad. I had a 5-year-old sister, Emily, to take care of. Ken, is Mom and Dad never coming back? Emily clutched my hand tightly, her voice filled with fear, and it broke my heart. I had to protect Emily. I raised my head, squeezed her hand back. It'll be okay, Emily. I'll be here, and we'll figure it out together. I knew we couldn't handle everything on our own, but I was determined to face whatever came our way with Emily by my side. As we left the police station, not a drop of rain was falling. It was almost like the accident was just a bad dream. But sadly, it was reality, and our parents were gone when we got home. We had no one to take us in. Both of our parents were only children, and our grandparents had already passed away. Maybe we had distant relatives, but the thought of living with strangers was unimaginable, and I didn't want to put Emily through that. Emily, for a 5-year-old, was quite mature but extremely shy. She was also a quiet child, and it took her a long time to adjust to new environments. It had taken her 2 years to get used to the preschool she was attending. "Ken, do we have to go somewhere else?" I answered Emily firmly. "No, we'll stay together, always." "Okay, as long as you're here, I'm okay." Then came the whirlwind of the wake, the funeral, and everything that followed. Of course, I was the head of the family, but I barely remember any of it. I guess the adults around me helped a lot. "Ken, stay strong." John had been there for me the whole time, always offering words of encouragement. He had always been a kind guy. I could only nod vaguely. But Emily liked John, so having him around was a comfort. After the ceremonies were over, a man from the local government visited our house. He was a kind man who genuinely cared about us, but he said that if we went into a facility, Emily and I would be separated. "All the facilities are full, so it's hard to keep you together. I'm sorry. If I work, can I live with Emily?" "But Ken, weren't you planning to go to high school? Are you not going to continue your education?" "No. I decided to forego high school and get a job. That way, we wouldn't have to go into a facility, and I could stay with Emily. From now on, we'll work hard together, okay?" "Yeah." Emily's smile was my only motivation to keep going. On the last day of middle school, I watched my classmates celebrating, smiling on the outside, but feeling a heavy weight in my chest. Every single one of them was moving on to high school. To me, it seemed like they were all beginning their paths to the future. But I couldn't see my future at all. A few days before graduation, I told my homeroom teacher that I wasn't going to high school. "Ken, there are scholarship programs now. Even without your parents, you can still go to high school." My teacher offered advice. To be honest, I didn't dislike studying. In fact, I loved it. I enjoyed absorbing knowledge. I was always at the top of my class in tests and even ranked first a few times. So, my decision to forego high school, despite my circumstances. My teacher was probably quite surprised as well. "Teacher, I'm not going to continue my education." Saying those words was painful, but it was my reality. After my parents passed away, I had to work to support our household. To live with Emily, my income was essential. All my classmates knew about my situation, so no one teased me for not going to high school. Instead, they were concerned about me becoming an adult so suddenly. "Let's still hang out sometimes, Ken.